Now, the Constitutional Court has ruled that former President Jacob Zuma must appear before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. He's also been ordered to obey all the summonses from the State Capture Commission. The inquiry approached the Apex Court last year to force the former president to testify. Now, this came after the former president and his legal team walked out during proceedings when the chairperson declined to recuse himself. Now, for more on this judgment, we're joined by our senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo. A very good afternoon to you, Ziyanda. So, the Constitutional Court has made a ruling, and we did hear the former president's lawyers saying that they will not return to the State Capture Commission until the ruling has been made. Where does this leave them now?
Well, ultimately, Tammy, it means that the former president is now obligated, according to the Constitutional Court and by law, to appear before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. The only time, Tammy, that the former president would not be able to, would be exempt rather from appearing before the commission as if he's physically ill and literally he has to be incapacitated. And this has got to do with being unable to appear as opposed to being unwilling to appear, which is what the Constitutional Court heard last year when the matter was before it. Now, there were several issues that were dealt with. One is the direct access issue, and this is related to whether or not, you know, the Commission should have jumped the High Court and the Supreme Court of Appeal by directly going to the Constitutional Court. And they were granted direct access in this matter on the basis then that this is an accountability issue and it's about the constitutional mandate that the former president must actually fulfill, is given the fact that not only that he was a former head of state, but because he is central to the allegations that are being made at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, which is a creature of statute, and therefore for it to be able to complete its work, the former president must absolutely appear. The second issue that's been dealt with then is that when the former president is there, he has no right to remain silent unless he can justify to the commission why he does not want to respond to a particular question.
Let me ask you this, Ziyanda. How does this differ from we saw Mr. Dumieni when she was giving her testimony? She refused to answer several of the questions, saying she reserves the right to answer because she doesn't want to further incriminate herself. Is there any difference between the former president's situation and that of Ms. Mnyeni?
Well, the Constitutional Court ruling will obviously set a legal precedent. So all witnesses now will also have to do that. And in fact, I want to just go back a bit and reflect then on what Justice Chris Jafta said. And he gave a tongue lashing to the commission, saying that they are in this quagmire because they brought it upon themselves by treating the former president with kid gloves, that he was not summoned, he was invited to come and make representations before the commission, despite him already displaying a pattern of not wanting to cooperate with the State Capture Commission. You didn't use what is prescribed in the law. The secretary of the commission has the legal authority to summon someone. They didn't do that. And ultimately now, because the issue is about time and this report being concluded by March, you now have to urgently approach the Constitutional Court. So when it comes to the issue, you're raising the issue of Dumieni, who said that she would like to remain silent so as to not incriminate herself. Well, then that's going to have to end, because now that the Constitutional Court has made this ruling, it is binding on all, and it's binding on how then the commission conducts its proceedings. So if the former president, when he appears in February, decides to remain silent, he can't just say that and then move on. He has to justify it, otherwise he'll be forced to respond.
What this could mean as well, should the Deputy Chief Justice, of course, decide to do that, he could actually want to call Mr. Dumieni back, because now that the legal precedent has been set, all the questions that he wanted to ask, or that the the cross-examiners, the evidence leaders wanted to ask, could then perhaps pose those questions. That might be one of the loopholes there. But let's take a listen in to what was said in court earlier on.
Mr. Jacob Zuma is ordered to obey all summonses and directives lawfully issued by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture, corruption, and fraud in the public sector, including organs of state. 5. Mr. Jacob Zuma is directed to appear and give evidence before the Commission on dates determined by it. 6. It is declared that Mr. Jacob Zuma does not have a right to remain silent in proceedings before the Commission.
Ziyanda, thank you so much for that update. I guess we await now the dates and the actual summons from the Deputy Chief Justice.
Absolutely, and that's taking place between the 15th and the 19th of February. And so we're yet to hear then from Zuma's legal team on whether or not they'll be appearing. I think the main thing here is that if he doesn't, then he will be in contempt of court and he could face possible imprisonment and, of course, then be declared a constitutional delinquent.
Thank you very much, Ziyanda. That's our senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo.